Welcome. This is Penetrate Your Brain, the podcast, a Zombie Torres media production hosted by your favorite Mexican, Zombie Torres. The podcast where we penetrate your brain with knowledge and information about horror, the paranormal, true crime, current events, pop culture, the sex industry, and everything in between, and a whole lot more. I mean, gore. Some material may not be suitable for everyone. You have been warned. Enjoy.
Welcome to another exciting episode of Zombie Torres Presents Penetrate Your Brain, the podcast. I am your host, Zombie Torres, and with me we have Dagger, our new co-host.
Heidi ho!
So I invited Dagger to be part of the podcast because, as you know, my comadre it isn't always available, and he lives far away, even though Dagger lives in Ohio. But she's a little more
Unfortunately.
she's a little more tech savvy than my comadre. But I will be having Val on, occasionally for our Mexican culture episodes, like the last one we did for Alfonso Sayas, which was really kind of a hit. A lot of people downloaded it on, from what I saw. And but anyway, today is going to be all about Dagger and her history and her becoming a part of the show and her her life, basically. So that way you get to know her. And you want to take it away?
Yeah. All right. So I am Dagger, better known as Dagger Basura or Bruja de Basura. I am a dancer. I am a sex worker. So I do OnlyFans right now. I am originally from San Diego, California. I moved to Cleveland, Ohio about 11 years ago, not by choice. Would never choose to live here. Ex-boyfriend situation. We broke up not very long into me moving out here, and I just kind of been stuck out here ever since. But yeah, so
Well, it's funny.
that
The whole you moving to Ohio. That's kind of how I got stuck in Lancaster. Um, for people that know the LA area, Lancaster is literally the last city before the county ends. In the desert. So all the stuff you see,
okay.
all the stuff you see on TV, where they shoot in like in the middle of nowhere, is actually out here, Lancaster. Like the Kill Bill Church, the motel where they shot like the Last Rejects is out here. A lot of the Mayans and Sons of Anarchy episodes were shot out here. Uh, so yeah, that's when you see desert and it's shot in LA, it's out here. And same situation. I moved out here with my human and kind of got stuck out here after COVID. So, oh, and
That's funny that you say. I was gonna say that's funny that you say that they shoot a bunch of like the desert stuff over where you're at because in Cleveland, I live in downtown, so they be shooting like the DC stuff out here and Marvel, like Spider-Man or Superman, all that shit. They be rolling that stuff down here. They'll block off the whole city and just have people shooting for those movies.
oh, that's cool. I get excited when I see locations like that. Because like I'm a huge movie buff, so when I see a location that I notice, I'm like, oh shit, that's like right there. So
Yeah, yeah.
as a matter of fact, a funny story. Like I said, I moved to Lancaster, and there's this road called Sierra Highway, which has like a bunch of shady crack motels and whatnot. And I just realized I rewatched the movie Joyride a couple of months ago, and I realized that that was one of the hotels they used in the end scenes when they're looking for the girl.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit, I never realized it was that hotel. But yeah, it was or motel, sorry. And yeah, like I said, and then when my girl took me to go see the Kill Bill Church, I was like, wow, it is literally in the middle of fucking nowhere, because it's like, out in the fucking desert. So but yeah, that's one thing, that I love about living in LA is all the locations and the history, so and let me actually go back to your OnlyFans thing. Um,
Yeah.
so, uh, this is a funny story, 'cause every time I gotta explain this. So, I am actually banned from OnlyFans. Is there like a other site that people can go to see your stuff?
So as of right now, I only have an OnlyFans. don't post as often as I used to. I've kind of taken a little bit of a hiatus from it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, like, I'll post like once in a while, like if I'm feeling saucy, but for the most part, like, it's not, I have a day job. I work as a barista. So a lot of the time, and I work full time. So a lot of the time, I don't really have the energy to kind of put into that. But I'm hoping that once summer comes back and the sun comes out, I feel less sad all the time. Then maybe I'll follow you more regularly. But yeah. Cool.
Well, that sucks that you live in a sad city or a sad situation.
Oh, it sucks out here, dog. Dude, there's no sunlight like 6 months out of the year. I have to take vitamin D pills in order to feel normal. Otherwise, I want to fucking kill myself.
What's funny, because about 10 years, oh, actually, no, I would say 14 years now. I actually moved to Iowa for a couple of months for personal reasons. But, and yeah,
Oh,
I am, I was actually telling my daughter this the other day. I'm like, I am not a snow person. You know,
no.
e- as much as I hate the heat and the desert, I love the fact that I can walk around and not have to worry about, sliding and shit on the snow,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, to each their own. I mean, but yeah, I am not. And you said you were from San Diego, so I am from California as well. And we live in a state where you can be in the snow and go to the beach in the same fucking day. So how cool is that?
Right. Yeah. You just go up for the mountains for some snow. You go to the coast for some beach.
Yeah, so it is like, people, like to rag on California, but you know what? I would rather live here and live paycheck to paycheck than live in some shitty small town racist, area. So you moved to Ohio, and it didn't work out with your boyfriend, and
Yeah. So I've just kind of been on kind of on my own since then. I've been kind of just bumping around from place to place. I am in a good roommate situation right now. Um, I plan on staying here until I can get enough money to move back home because I do want to move back to Southern California.
that's to San Diego, or
I actually was thinking more in the LA area.
oh, okay.
I've been trying to move for like past couple years, but it's like every time I try, like something happens. Like, it is what it is. And now I'm thinking maybe I should postpone my move until maybe next year just because of like the fires and everything. Like, I don't know. Like, it just feels kind of weird to try to like to mosey my way on through after such a tragedy.
There's fires going on. No, I'm just fucking
Shut
with you.
the
Yes,
fuck up.
as a matter of fact, there was a new one today by Magic Mountain. So
Jesus Christ.
yeah. So yeah, I mean, and yeah, the fires were kind of literally came out of nowhere because we've never had anything like this before. Uh,
I know.
it did remind me of I keep because everyone I know that doesn't live here, people, my friends from the Midwest and other countries are like, well, dude, like, are you okay? I'm like, fortunately, like I said, I do live in the outskirts of LA County. But my mom and my son do live like in the valley, so they were actually affected. My son's school was actually near the I think called the Hearst fire. Um,
Oh my.
so his school was like his high school was closed for like about a week, and same thing with my mom. My mom actually there was like a fire that broke out like in the foothills by her house. But I mean, luckily, nothing really happened. My girl's family actually lost a bunch of houses. They lived in Altadena. So, yeah, I mean,
Dang.
yeah, it's one of those things where somebody that knows somebody that got affected, kind of the thing.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like even out here, like I know not me personally, but one of my friends that I'm really close to, she had a friend who lost everything. Like her house and everything is just completely gone. And like as somebody who has moved around a lot and I don't carry a lot of things, I do have like a handful of sentimental items. So I can't imagine having a house full of just like things that you'll never get to see again, like pictures and stuff like that. It's just I don't know, it's very heart wrenching.
Oh, I agree. Like I do have a lot of horror memorabilia and toys and shit like that, signed stuff, and I'm just like, damn, if I guess if I had to, uh, we were actually having this discussion the other day. Well, the first thing I would grab is actually my citizenship paperwork, and my camera equipment, because like that would be like my go-to shit, aside from the dogs, but yeah, it's one of those things where like fuck, you really think about like what would you grab if you had like 10-15 minutes to like grab everything that you would need for the next couple of months before shit got,
Mhm.
and unfortunately, I mean, I guess fortunately I don't have to go through that. Unfortunately, a lot of people do. Um and it sucks. And especially you know, in today's fucked up dictatorship, you know, like what Biden is giving everybody like $700 for,
My God.
which is like a fucking slap in the face,
Yeah, very efficient. Like that's fucking nothing. That's not even rent.
Right, right. That's not even, yeah, exactly. That is not even rent. That is not even a down payment. So yeah, my heart goes out to them, and then you're having these like these so-called celebrities kind of try to get clout or have clout, and kind of
It's
it's
gross.
it is, it's like fuck, dude, like leave it alone, like it is a weird a weird situation, like I said, this reminds me of like the earthquake in '94 and the LA riots
So
combined.
yeah, so probably postponing my move until after everything is kind of settled on that front. Um, Hopefully maybe next year will be the year, but we'll see. Um, I definitely do not want to stay in Ohio for much longer. I keep saying, I say this every year. I'm like, I have one more winter in me until I kill myself. And
So there's nothing about Ohio that, I mean, because I know you guys have the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Um, there's nothing out there that you would, be like, "Oh, okay, that's kind of a cool thing to go to," or is it just one of those, I'm over it.
I'm so over it. So like Cleveland, like to visit is probably okay. Like we do have like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. We got the Cleveland Museum, and like the zoos, and we have the art museums and stuff, and like that's cool. The city is also very good for like live music, mostly for metal and punk. Those are probably the two. Well, Cleveland's definitely more of a metal city than anything. Um, but other than live shows and like the couple of attractions that we have here, really the only thing there is to do is drink, and that's what everybody does out here. As somebody who struggled with alcoholism on and off, being here has been probably not the best. Because it's literally all there is to do is just like, hey, you want to hang out? Yeah, let's go to a bar. And there's just so many bars, and that's especially when it's cold out. Like there's nothing to do, dog.
So
So
I would imagine it would be like any Midwest kind of city where you have bars that are like in the basement, or like in Cheers, I guess.
well, I'm in Cleveland, so that's the big city. I'm like I live in downtown and stuff. So it's not quite as like down home as that. But I've definitely been to a couple places like on the outskirts of Cleveland or like in the smaller towns where they definitely have that vibe where people are still smoking cigarettes inside. It's like a time capsule.
Oh, I feel like the Midwest is it's okay. So funny thing, okay, I did a road trip a couple years ago with my son, where we went up to North Dakota, all the way to the Superman Museum in Illinois, and then came back down for my daughter's graduation, because she lives or lived in North Dakota. Um, and after doing that road trip and coming through like Oklahoma and the west part of Texas, because I would watch movies like U-Turn or whatever, and I'm like, how can this is so like in today's world that could not fucking happen. Well, for those of you that have never been in the middle America, there are some creepy ass fucking small towns out there, especially like.
There's a lot of nothing. There's a lot of like you go and you'll go like miles and miles without seeing anything except for maybe like an old church or some shit. Like
Oh
it's
my god,
pretty.
yes, yes. Yeah, right before we hit Sturgis, we literally drove by an area where there was nothing around and just a fucking church on the side of the road. And and then we went through a couple of towns where we drove by, and we went through this, I guess, one horse kind of town, and we saw nobody. Like, not a single fucking person. And I was just like, oh, okay. So I guess horror movies are really possible, I guess,
For sure.
Uh, but yeah, I mean, there are some places, and then when we were in Illinois, like South Illinois near Kentucky, there were a couple of deliverance moments. You saw some people, you're like, ding, 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 So yeah, I mean, it's I could see the possibilities of a lot of shit going down, like or you could say, hey, I can see a horror movie happening right now, so
You could clearly see your car going over some spikes in the road and
yes,
having out of
yes.
like the freaking wheat or the corn or whatever,
Yeah, especially
just busting
especially
your ass.
right, especially in Texas. Now, for those of you who've never been to Texas, holy fucking shit, it is the state that never ends. We were driving
It's so
through,
long.
yeah, and we were driving through West Texas, going to
Hmm.
Roswell because I wanted to stop in Roswell because I love aliens
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
shit. And we would see like houses like in the middle of nowhere on the side of the road. And we actually even stopped and, I'm sorry, we didn't stop. There was a car on the side of the road that had its emergency lights on, and there was like a thunderstorm. And, again, I have my fucking kid. I'm like, I'm not going to I'm not going to put my kid at risk just in case.
Right, right, right.
And I'm just like, I felt bad, but I'm like, yeah, no fucking way, dude. So it's like,
I've seen this movie. I know where it ends. We're not
Exactly,
stopping.
exactly. It's like I've seen Jeepers Creepers. I've seen fucking Wrong Turn. So yeah, like I said, it's so weird how it's like now I'm like this can happen, like. But yeah, it's I can only imagine with the East Coast. I've never been to the East Coast, but I've heard it's a lot creepier. So yeah, it's something I don't want to find out, or would want to drive in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
So, because even in like Nebraska, we drove like through nighttime where for an hour we did not see one single car,
And it's
and
so quiet.
it's so quiet, and all you see is like lights out in the like far away out there in nowhere.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, like if we break, and there was no cell service, so I'm telling my son, dude, if we break down, we're fucked, So
Yeah.
But yeah, it can be, and then I like to listen to a lot of podcasts where, truck drivers talk about their like, paranormal experiences and whatnot. And I'm like, that is not what I want to fucking see right now or hear, so.
I'm already creeped out. You don't need to creep me out more.
Oh, my bad, my bad. I guess if it gets dark, just, pull into some motel or hotel and shit. I like to do the hotels because they seem a lot safer. So
Right. Because I've seen Vacancy too. I don't want to fucking go into some shitty ass motel.
oh, exactly. Yeah, I've seen some hotels where I'm just like, it's like motels where I'm just like, let's wait till we find an actual hotel.
Like you get hacked up to bits in this one. I might pass on this.
and if it's crowded, if it's a hotel that's crowded, it's even better. Because it's like safety in numbers. But yeah, I mean, it's out there. It's fucking out there, dude. Like, So anyway, so do you know what area you like? I know you said LA, but I mean, LA is a pretty big area. We're talking about like the Valley, downtown.
It's so funny because I was actually looking at like the like Glendale, like Pasadena area, and like I'm like, damn, that's probably.
Oh, okay. So that's
that's another reason why I'm kind of pushing my move because it's like that was like one of the like Glendale's like one of the areas I was like one of the most affected by the fires. I'm just like, yeah, but it's also like I don't drive. So I kind of like would need to be somewhere where it's like close enough to where I can go to like downtown LA and sit and just take public transportation because honestly the idea of owning because I don't drive period. Like I never learned. So everywhere I've gone, I always try to make sure to like stay in like the city so that way I have public transportation. Another thing is that like the idea of owning a car, especially somewhere like LA, it just doesn't seem to make a lot of sense to me. Just because it's like the congestion is so bad with like the roads and shit. Like it takes like A half-hour drive takes like an hour and a half.
I know exactly what you're saying. And trust me, for someone who had to learn the hard way about driving in downtown LA, where there's like one-way streets and busways
Mhm.
only. The I know exactly what you mean. It can be stressful, but I've also been in a situation when I was younger where I took the train to Union Station and then took the bus to like the beach, and then got fucking stuck out there. So, where I have like,
Well, luckily we have Ubers and Lyft and stuff, and it's not cheap, but at least I know that I won't get stuck somewhere.
oh, well, okay, and yeah, like I said, this was when I was like, God, I was like, what, 18, 19, where Uber was not around, and I had to like pay $50 for like a fucking taxi. Yeah, yeah, exactly. So, but it's funny because where I live, the Metrolink does run. Like I'm like 5 minutes away from the the Metrolink, which runs uh from Lancaster to Union Station. Uh, so yeah, there are some times where I don't want to take a car, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm just gonna take my camera, get off the Union Station, and like Uber around and shit.
Yeah.
Same thing with my friend. I have a friend or my comadre who not tech savvy. He doesn't drive either, and he lives in the San Gabriel Valley, and he takes a bus to Union Station and then catches a train up here. And the same thing, it runs throughout the valley. So, um, I guess if you were to want to live in the valley, you would probably, I think you would do good like in San Fernando, Silmar, Pacoima area.
Yeah.
Those are like where poor Mexican people live. That's where I'm from. And
Hey.
and like I said, and there was the bus that I grew up nearby. It was the one that would take me to like downtown and shit before the Metrolink was put into place. So I mean, I've been taking the train all my fucking life. So I'm sorry, the bus all my life.
Yeah.
But yeah, like for someone that doesn't drive, I would say if you could stay near San Fernando Road, because that's the
Yeah.
the road that takes you into downtown LA. Just food for thought, if you ever want to look into that.
Yeah, for sure. Really the only like I said, like Glendale, that kind of area is kind of what I was like looking at, but at the same time it's also like as long as I can find a roommate that I fucking don't hate, that isn't gonna screw me over, that's
Right.
really all I'm looking for.
Right. No, I hear you. I hear you. There's a lot of crazies out there, and especially in LA.
Oh my god. When I was looking, because I had a couple friends like reach out and stuff, but like when I was just like looking at like Craigslist and shit, I saw the craziest fucking ad for a room. And it was so fucking funny. It was like super cheap, obviously. It was like $500 a month to rent this room, right? And I was like, okay, sick. And I'm looking at it, and it's of course a fucking man, and he's like, and in the description, it talks about, all the, what's included and blah, blah, blah. And then he talks about how he's naked, like all the time.
Oh.
And it's like, to be okay with nudity if you live here. And I'm like, man, I don't want your fucking ball sack just like on the couch. Like, that's fucking weird. Like,
Oh, dude, that would be weird.
no, thank you. That sounds like that's going to get me in some real bad trouble.
Oh, dude, I've actually like had a roommate where I've walked in on him naked, passed out. Again, this was in my younger days, and he was like fucking wasted. And I'm like, why the fuck are you naked on the couch? Like it made no sense, like. But yes, I mean, like I said, yeah, there's a lot of crazies out there. A lot
of fucking weirdos.
Which
is like being a weirdo's fine. Like we're a couple of freaks, but like not like that.
Okay, it's kind of like when you meet someone and you're just like, oh, this person's cool, and then they're like, start talking about some weird shit. I'm like, oh, great, you're a fucking nut job, kind of thing.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I'm going to go over there now. I would say it was a pleasure meeting you, but that would be a lie.
Right. Like I said, I've met people. Like I said, I used to have a shop in Palmdale out here next to Lancaster, and I would have some customers who were just like, oh man, dude, shut the fuck up and get the fuck out. Like it's like talking about how like the Earth, how the moon is moving, and there's like it's shallow, and it's just like, oh, okay, well, yeah.
Wait, I don't understand a single thing that you're saying, bud, but I'm happy for you, or I'm
It's
sorry to hear that. Whatever
exactly,
works.
it's like I do, okay, like okay, I don't want to knock and I don't want to offend you, but are you into astrology at all?
I dabble. I'm not like super like I'm friends with a bunch of witches and stuff, so like it's kind of just part of the thing. But like, like I can see some kind of like truth behind it.
Okay, so
Especially when it comes
I can see that I can see that you're not balls in. So that okay, so well, okay, so what I'm about to say is like, look, I respect people's beliefs, but when people are like really, really into it, and like you said, I have friends who are witches too, but I'm also I feel like I'm more a man of science. It's like, what does fucking Uranus and Pluto have to do with my fucking love life? Uh,
right.
to me that's the same thing when I meet someone and I think they're smart and they sound intelligent, and then they go off into like how astrology did this. I'm like, oh man, you're one of those. So, but again, to each their own. I'm not here to judge. That's just
Well, I don't really see like any kind of problem with that unless someone's trying to like boss you around or some shit. Like, also, like, I think going into that kind of stuff like unprompted is also kind of rude. You know?
Well, see, I feel like it's one of those things where it's fun to. I mean, it's like I look at my my horoscope,
Your horoscope.
but I just look at it as like, okay, that's a little fun thing to do. But I'm like, oh my god, now I gotta like plan for this mystery person that's supposed to come in my life.
Right. Like, but with my belief with like astrology and stuff like that, I think it's like kind of like a guideline as opposed to like telling the future. You know what I mean?
Oh, see, I could see that. I could see that.
Yeah, like it's like like it's all very vague for me. Like I'm never gonna take anything at like face value. It's always like you hear something, you take it with a grain of salt, kind of like mentally prepare yourself for some fuckery, but like don't think too much about it because you're always in charge of your own destiny. That's something that I feel.
I couldn't agree. Yeah, that's exactly how I see it. And the only reason I have an issue with astrology is back in 2000. Okay, so since you're like you kind of know LA a little bit, did you ever hear about know about the Kevin and Bean show on K Rock?
I don't think so.
Okay, so there was these two DJs like back in the day on KROQ, and I remember at least they were one of the funniest fucking shows around back then, and they had this this fucking psychic or whatever, and she was. And she was telling people like their luckiest day. Like, okay, if you're Sagittarius, this is the day that you're gonna like have the best day of the year. And then when she got to Scorpio, she's like, okay, well this day is the best day of the year for you. Not only was it not the best year, it was like the shittiest fucking day. I think I got like a driving ticket, and then like I got a bill for like for something I forgot I bought, and it was just one of the shittiest days. And I'm like, after that, it just stuck.
You took that personally.
Yeah, so I take it personally. I'm like, wait, not only was it not a good day, it was a shitty day. So I was
it was actually a bad day.
yeah. So after that, I was like, you know what, I'm never gonna believe this shit. So. And yes, I guess I took it personally because I was like, man, I was waiting to like win the lottery or, meet some like hot chick or something, and no,
right.
it was a really terrible day, So, when it rains, it pours. That's it, I suppose.
The fact that you like have that like at the ready, you're just like, now here's the reason why I don't fuck with astrology.
Well, yeah,
I don't know. I think
well, it's kind of like how I didn't go into why I was banned from OnlyFans. So I'm sure people are like, wait, what's the story behind that? The quick version is, like I said, I am a photographer, and I did put content, and I remember I didn't turn in my models release forms in time. In time, I was like a day late, and then I was kind of like, hey, sorry, I was trying to get like so and so's paperwork, and after that I could not, since you know how they ask for your ID. Every time I tried to like start a new account, I always got like rejected. So I was like, well, fuck you, OnlyFans, and I went to Patreon, and so. Yeah, it wasn't nothing creepy or nasty. It was just like I didn't get my paperwork in time. So,
Right.
But
They stay quick on that though. They don't. They're like, we're not gonna deal with any fucking lawsuits, dog. Like,
yeah, but they take fucking
it's
forever to approve
understandable,
you
but it
though.
sucks.
But they take forever to approve you. That's the shit though. Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
Because I've known models who are like, yeah, I've been waiting for like 2 weeks and they haven't approved me yet, and blah blah blah. And I'm like, that's why you should go somewhere else. Just saying. So
Yeah, that's another thing is that like it's very oversaturated. So they probably have to deal with like a lot of people like putting in like their applications or whatever. So, and you know, like they have to be very thorough. There was a time where when OnlyFans kind of first started, that a lot of shit kind of slipped under the radar. So they had to go and like fucking try to fix that shit real quick because people were posting revenge porn. There were a couple people that were putting like underage stuff on there, so that's why they're kind of like up. They don't fuck around with the release forms and shit.
well, and I get that, but I feel like someone like me should get like a hey, like let me make it right kind of kind of thing, and I don't think there is a.
I don't think you should have been like outright banned for that, but like I guess I can see both sides of the coin here. You know what I mean?
Right. But I mean, if you're like a multi-million-dollar company, I feel like there should be room for error. Well, not room for error, but like a what's the word I'm looking for? Some sort of
like a warning,
or kind of like a hey, don't do this again.
Right. They'll give you a little grace.
Yeah, like a grace period. Thank you. That's exactly what I was looking for. But yeah, so I mean that's kind of like my and then I heard that actually they're the owners of OnlyFans like donated to like Israel to fight Palestine or some shit. So
terrible.
Yeah, so
well, that's another reason to fucking probably take down my OnlyFans then.
Well, like I said, everything you do on OnlyFans, you can do it on Patreon. So
I remember because I haven't really looked into Patreon because the reason why the last time I was going to look into also doing Patreon, they had taken off all adult content. I don't know if you remember that, but there was a period where they wouldn't allow any kind of adult content or anything to be posted. And it actually fucked up a lot of cosplayers and shit. They fucked with their money because, they would do their cosplay stuff, but then they would also do the not safe for work stuff and the costumes and whatever. So a lot of people ended up going to OnlyFans because of that. I don't know when Patreon changed those rules, though. That's interesting.
Yeah, I actually do remember that. And like I said, I post, obviously I can't post a lot of risky stuff on my Instagram, photography page because I have been I've gotten in trouble for that. So so I've
gotten in trouble so much for just posting a single butt cheek. They'll get on you for fucking anything.
Oh my god, no, and it's funny because like when you the dumbest one I ever got was there was this chick and she'd posted a photo and she was out here in LA and I said, hey, I love your look. I would love to shoot you sometime. Shoot you. I would love to shoot you. And I got a warning for harassing or for terrorism or something like that because I used the word shoot.
It was inciting violence.
Yes, and I was just like, whoa, like that's fucking retarded.
It's like, no, that's not what I meant. That's not what I meant. I didn't mean shoot with a gun. I meant with a camera.
Right, and then there's this one where I actually saw this other page where they and as far as I know, they never got in trouble. There was this page that had this girl with the logo covering her nipples, and her tits were out, out and about. And I actually did that with somebody I knew, and I put my logos on a sticker and put them on her nipples, and I got flagged for that. And I'm like, wait, if you're gonna flag me for this, what about this page? Because if I'm gonna go down, then I'm gonna fucking take, and you always get the sorry, we didn't find any fault with their shit, just yours. So
yeah, no, I've seen because I'm on Instagram and I'm on Facebook, so anytime I'll post on Facebook and it gets taken down, I'm just like, that's stupid because I've seen that women post full labia.
I've seen that too. I have seen that too.
I've seen dick pics. They just like straight up that got like thousands and thousands of shares. And I'm just like, okay, so people post full genitalia, but I can't post a picture of myself in a bathing suit. That's fucking stupid.
It is. Like I said, I've seen that shit too. And then, yeah. So, and then also since I use my photography page most of the time instead of my personal one, I tend to obviously post my political views, and I feel a lot of times people will like turn me in because of my political views, you know. And,
Oh, that too. That could also be a thing. I try to be. I mean, like, I'm very political as a person. I kind of have to be. Being Mexican, a sex worker. I'm also non-binary. I do go by she pronouns, so that's fine. But like, I also changed my name. Like, there's a lot of stuff that is against me. Also being queer, because I am bisexual. So it's like there's a lot, just like my existence in general is politicized. So of course I'm going to be posting about it. I try to kind of keep it very, I don't know. I guess I try to like make it more like memes and shit as opposed to like posting like really long, like political view type stuff, because it's like I'm still sharing how I feel while also, I guess, not alienating people. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
it's like, just especially because it's like, I do what I do. Like, I'm a performer and whatever. So people are like, I don't want to see you talk about politics. I just want to see your ass. So it's like, well, you get both. You get both of them.
It's a 2-for-1 special. So.
Yeah.
No, I know what you mean, and it's funny because same thing. I don't want to alienate people, but I have, and I mean, if we're talking about politics, I've actually stopped talking to people that,
Oh, for sure.
In my personal life. I mean, family and friends and shit. And the same thing when I had my shop. I remember, again, I have a kid who's, gay, and so to me, it's like, dude, I will fight tooth and nail for your fucking rights. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck who, And I remember I posted something on my shop's Instagram page, and I got this big ass like, you should keep your like political views, and I'm a Christian, and now I'm not going to go to your shop, and I'm like, dude, all I'm supporting is like gay rights here. Like, if you don't want to shop at my shop because of my beliefs, then fuck you. I don't need your fucking business.
Gay rights are human rights.
Exactly. So,
like, I don't know. Like, I feel like whoever you choose to love, whatever's in your pants, it really don't fucking matter. And it's nobody else's fucking business. I don't understand why they care so much.
I agree.
I think they're jealous. I think they too would like the touch of a man, and they are too scared to say it.
Perhaps, and I know I'm not gay. I mean, like, I've had interactions with, that's how I know what women feel, because I've gone to gay clubs with my cousins or, friends, and I have been like automatically touched. And I'm like, dude, you don't fucking know me. Like, don't touch me,
Right, yeah. I feel like that's a really good, thing. Now, like, I guess like experience. Like, if you're a straight man and you want to know what it feels like to be a woman, wear your nicest little outfit, go to the gay club. Happens. Like,
no, you're right. Because like I said, I worked in the industry. I've seen guys sucking dick in real life. It doesn't, it doesn't bother me. It really fucking doesn't. But I know it bothers a lot of people. And like I said, I have been to clubs. I remember one time I went with my cousin to West Hollywood, and this guy like grabs me, and he's like, "Oh my God, you're so cute. Like, are you here with anybody?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm here with that guy over there." He's like, "Oh, he's so," and I'm just like, but I'm like, dude, don't fucking touch me. Like, it's kind of like, I don't fucking know you, I mean, I don't go up to a woman and just grab her like, "Hey, like, who you with?"
You better fucking not.
Exactly. And then I remember when I was in Iowa, the first week I was in Iowa, there was a Hamburger Mary's out there, and we went out there, and there was this old creepy guy who would not stop touching me. And it was funny. It was funny at first until he like followed me to the bathroom, and I was like, dude, I'm not gay. This isn't gonna fucking happen. just fucking knock it. And he was like getting drunk and shit. He was drunk. And then I finally told my friend, I'm like, hey, you know, keep your boy in check because I don't want this to turn into a fucking hate crime when it's obviously not. He's just being fucking very, you know, touchy grabby and shit, you know.
Right. It's like don't make me
because in this situation, I would come off as the bad guy, you know. And like I said, that shit don't bother me, you know. So to each their own, you know. Like I said, whatever happens behind closed doors, as long as you're not fucking a little kid, it's, you know, whatever, you know. That's your business and shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. But yes, I think that experience made me, I guess, open my eyes. I'm like, oh, I guess this is how chicks feel, you know. They don't like being touched or grabbed, you know, when it's someone you don't fucking know.
Anything else you want to know from me, dog?
Yeah. Well, like I said, I kind of. So, how did you start in the adult industry, or your journey into sex working?
Okay. So I was just kicked out when I was 17. I didn't start doing anything until I was 18, but it was pretty shortly after I I got kicked out in like May. My birthday was in June. So I had got my first jobs, which I worked at a call center and I also worked at McDonald's. I worked both of those places part-time and it just wasn't enough fucking money. And I was on my own. I didn't have any help from my family. And so I started doing a full service sex work, which is, prostitution. I would be on like websites like Meet Me when that was first starting out, Facebook and stuff like that. And I would never really advertise it, but I would have people, come into my inbox and be like, hey, like, do you do these things? And at first it wasn't like something that I intended to do, but I'd had enough people coming into my inbox and asking me. So I started setting my prices and started doing that to kind of make ends meet, make sure my rent was paid and my phone was paid. And I did that for a minute. And then when I turned 19, I stopped doing that stuff because obviously it's not safe. I was doing it alone, so I was very lucky that I got out of that without getting ripped off or worse, getting hurt or killed. So from then on, I kind of just started doing mostly online. So I started doing camming. I was a cam girl for a while. That was actually kind of fun. I would actually dress up and stuff. I'm goth, so I would, tease up my hair real big and I would have people be like, oh, this is like, it's like, seeing Susie Sue jerk off for me. It's awesome. Like, so, and like, I was very lucky that a lot of the people were very, very nice. And it's not, I would say that my experience is not very typical, especially as someone who's fuller or I was definitely bigger back then, but like, I'm still on like the thicker side. So I never really had anybody come into my chats being like aggressive or rude or mean to me. And I kind of built up a little bit of like a fan base to where if anybody did come in with some fuck shit to say, the rare occasions that it did, they would be like, get the fuck out of here, dude. Like, so that was cool. Again, it was like one of those things where I kind of fell off of it. And so I just kind of, I stopped camming for a while. And then I stopped doing sex work for a while. And then maybe like, I don't think it was like 2020 was kind of when I got back into it. And that was mostly doing like, I didn't start with OnlyFans. So I was doing, basically people would hit me up for pictures or videos and I would just send it to them directly, which it can work, but it's also like you have a greater chance of having people either like not pay you or stuff like that. So when OnlyFans started coming around, I kind of moved on to doing that. I still did like the DM requests and all that, but for the most part, I kind of moved everything over to that because it just makes more sense. Like just more structure.
Right.
So, cause like you pay to get in and then you can see all my stuff that way. Also, it's at the end of the day, more bang for your buck because when I would do like the set by set, it was definitely more expensive than subscribing and getting to see all of my content. So, but yeah, I've been doing that pretty much since then. I don't post as regularly anymore because I am focused on a lot of the other stuff that I do. So, like I said, I work as a barista during the day, but I also DJ. I do goth nights, and I also am a burlesque dancer and a go-go dancer. I also, what else do? I do a lot of shit. I model. I'm a model as well. I also make clothes. So I have a lot of things that I kind of like try to like spread myself around. It's a lot.
Well, and now you're a podcaster, so.
And now I'm a podcaster, so I can add that to the list.
It's funny when you were saying that you tease your hair, and I was like, oh my god, when you said Susie, I was like, that's exactly what I was thinking of, Yeah. So what was it like the first time you did it? Was it like a scary situation or?
The first time I ever did like the full service?
Yeah.
Oh, it was terrifying. I was so scared. So because I'm fresh out of high school, and I have to meet this like strange man that I met off the internet and hope he doesn't fucking murder me.
Was it some creepy looking guy kind of thing, or was it some young?
It was just some fucking dude. Like he wasn't like super creepy. He was just kind of boring looking. He like wore like a baseball cap, a t-shirt, and like some shorts or whatever. And I will say that I never actually had full-on sex with any of my clients. That is one thing that I never did, mostly because these motherfuckers are cheap as shit and they couldn't pay my rate.
So if you don't mind me asking, what exactly were you?
It was mostly hand and mouth stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so mostly hand and mouth stuff. They would try to like be like, well, maybe we should fuck, and I'd be like, you have $200 because that's how much it is if you want to get inside me, and they'll be like, oh, well, like you'll like it, and I'm just like, I highly doubt that because your dick doesn't even reach the back of my throat, dog. Like I could put the whole thing in my mouth without gagging. I highly, highly doubt that I would get any pleasure from this. So you can either pay me my money, or are we done here? Are we done? Okay, cool. I gotta go.
All right. Well, shit.
It's just dealing with people trying to be pushy and trying to get more out of me because they think they can manipulate me. And like, I'm not gonna lie and say that I've always been super savvy. Like, putting myself in a situation in the first place, like, was not the smartest move. But like over time you learn how to deal with the creeps and the weirdos and the people who are stingy with their money or think they can just fucking get something out of you just because they think you're pretty. You know what I mean?
Did you ever think about like ever going into like actual like you posting yourself on like sexyjobs.com and making films for like a production company or anything like that?
I thought about it. Maybe if it was like a few years ago, I probably would be more into making like getting more into like the adult film industry and like doing pornography. But something that I have learned over the years is that I am demisexual, which means that I do not experience sexual attraction unless I have a connection with somebody. And it's something that, like, even if it was just for a job, I don't think that my brain would necessarily enjoy that.
Oh, okay.
Like, yeah, so like doing solo stuff and all that, like, that's fine. Like, I don't mind, posting myself, masturbating or nude or whatever. But once there's like another person involved, unless it's like somebody that I'm actually with, it's not something that I'm terribly interested in doing. I know that it would probably make me more money, but I don't know. Like for me personally, it's just not something that I am like looking to do.
Right. What is the weirdest request you've ever gotten?
Oh man. Okay. So this one's really fucked up. So when I was because I've gotten a lot of like requests over the years, like fucking myself with like a high heel shoe or and shit like that. Like there's some odd people out there, but like the weirdest one that I have ever gotten, and it's something that I will absolutely never fucking do again. So I was briefly into doming,
Oh,
and I had a man who was I had a black man who hit me up, and he was like, hey, so like I know that you're a dom and blah blah blah. He's like, I'm into something very specific. And I was like, okay, like, we're getting to know each other, we're trying to kind of build up a rapport. And he's like, I'm into race play. And I was like, what is that? I had a feeling, but I wanted him to kind of explain it to me further. And he's like, okay, so basically I'm a slave and you're my master, and I want you to call me slurs like the N word and use a hard R, and like that's the stuff that really gets me off. And I was like, oh my god, oh my god. So me being young and naive, and not really kind of having boundaries at the time, I did take him up on that. We had a couple of sessions. Some of them were over the phone. There were a couple that were in person. But it's one of those things that just like did not feel right. It didn't sound right coming out of my mouth. Like it was like obviously like the whole thing just feels really icky for me,
right.
especially as somebody who is now like really into like social justice and all that stuff. And it's like if that's your fetish, that is just fine, but I need you to keep that shit as far away from me as possible. Like,
Wow, that's
it's funny because like I'm Mexican, but I'm very light skinned, so I'm very white passing. So I guess that was another reason why he kind of was like looking at me too. And I like let him know. It was like I think we had like a total of like 4 sessions, like 2 over the phone and 2 in person. And after like there was like they lasted like a month, and I called him and I was like, hey, so this isn't really working for me. Like the money's really good and you're obviously like a total sweetheart outside of it, but it is not something that feels good to me. It's not something that I am personally comfortable with. I gave it a shot. It wasn't my bag. And I hope that you can find what you're looking for. And he was very polite, and he was like, no, I understand. He's like, I get that it's a very an intense fetish, and he's like, but like I respect you. And honestly, it ended and it was over. And but yeah, that was probably like the worst fucking and most like insane thing that I ever did in that industry. Like that whole thing, it's just even talking about it, I'm like, my skin is crawling.
Oh, that's yeah. I've never heard of that. That's interesting. Do you know what he did for a living? Like, was he like a pastor, or like a lawyer, or?
Oh, he was definitely. I never ask where the money comes from. I always, but he like, he wore suits. I could tell he was in, corporate. I don't know exactly what he did, but he paid me $300 an hour for the phone, and then he paid me $500 an hour for in person. So like he had money. He had money to fucking spare. He gave me. It was like what like
Did he
almost like.
did he have you like whip him and shit too, or?
Oh my god, yes, he did. He had a
Wow.
whole like yeah, he had a whole like wall of like toys and shit. He had shackles. It was like it was
Oh
rough.
man,
It was rough. And it was after like our second like in-person session. After doing that, I was like, Jesus fucking Christ, what am I doing?
see. I love those kind of stories because especially when it's like someone you would never fucking guess of having a weird fetish or sex life. Those are the best, in my opinion.
I would say the suits the suits are the ones that have the weirdest fucking sex lives. And the reason why is because the rest of their life is so fucking boring that the only way they can get their fucking kicks is like doing weird sex shit.
Well, it's funny because like out here there was a newscaster. Um, God, his name escapes me, but he was a weekend news guy, and he did this local show where he would go to like random hole in the wall mom and pop restaurants and give them like a little award kind of thing, and give them a little spotlight kind of thing.
Mhm.
And he was married. He had a daughter, and then I don't mean to be like a funny situation, but it was one of those things where he died when he was having sex with his like sex lover, his gay lover.
Oh no.
And it was and he actually died in Glendale, ironically, in some shitty motel, because like he shoved, if I remember correctly, like speed or something up his ass. And
Oh my god.
yeah, I can't think of his name right now, but I'm sure if you Google KTLA reporter dies in motel, you'll get the information. But he was like one of these guys where it's just like, I used to watch him all the time on the weekends. And when he died like that, I was like, no fucking way. Like, he did not
What a
seem.
scandal.
Yes. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. It's kind of like when you like your next door neighbor is like, what? He was into like,
Right.
he's a furry? Like, no fucking, Um, now, see me, I'm sure people wouldn't be like, oh, yeah, that's totally him and shit. But yeah, it was one of those things like it shocked the news community out here, But yeah, it was fucking. And like I said, when you learn shit like that about people, it's kind of like when you find out like, God, the FBI guy, what's his name, was a cross dresser, Hoover. When you find out like Hoover was like, it's like, I like hearing stories like that because it's like, yeah, you're a weirdo too, man. So. I mean, I got my own like fucking fetishes, but I mean, I don't feel like they're that extreme where I would be like ashamed of them. It's like,
Right.
I'm like, I like, I'm into voyeurism. I like, I have a little, shoe fetish. Like, I love when chicks wear like stripper shoes or like knee-high boots kind of thing.
Yeah.
I love the whole goth look. Ever since Elvira and Lily Munster, like I fucking love that look. But yeah, I don't think I have some weird ass like, oh yeah, stick a dildo in my ass and call me Susie or whatever. Like, that's not me and shit. So
I feel like the one fetish that I have that people, which you wouldn't think is like, at least not for me, especially being in like the goth scene and stuff. Like, you wouldn't think that it's so weird, but I have a blood fetish. I have a blood kink.
Really?
And people are very, very weird about that. And I'm just like, you're goth. Like, what do you mean you won't let me cut you? Come on. Like, I don't know. I guess because like for me, it's just like, it doesn't seem so strange, especially when I feel like I'm amongst my peers. But then I really, really think about it, and I'm just like, no, that's pretty fucking weird. No, actually, they have a pretty normal response to that.
Yeah, see, I don't know. I don't think I would have a problem with it. I think I'd be like, all right, you want my blood? Okay, here you go. It's kind of like,
I also understand the hesitancy with that as well, because like, there's a risk of infection, or like, let's say you have like a disease of the blood, like, you don't know, like, I mean, obviously I'm not doing this as fucking randos, but like, I could see why people would be a little squeamish about that,
oh yeah, I mean, I feel you have to be very careful with that. It's kind of like when you do porn, you gotta like check yourself and make sure you don't have anything. But I feel like I'm at the, like I said, I love the adult industry. I love history about sex. Like everything about it, just the history. With the Kinsey Institute, Dr. Masters, back in the '60s. Like, I love learning about sex and everything about it. And like we were talking about yesterday, the correlation between sex or pornography and horror movies. It's like I love learning shit like that. There's a study that says that you can pass on your fetishes to your offspring.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
And it's I'm not going to go into details, but I feel like I could see it. I fucking can see it with one of my kids. and there's another study that shows that if a woman was promiscuous during her youth, there's a big chance that if she has a daughter, the daughter will be as promiscuous as well for some reason. So, I just, so yes, I just love learning about the human mind and especially the sexual part. I feel like I've been, for myself, I feel like I've been a sexual being even as a kid, if that makes sense. I remember.
Well, it's like a basic like human thing,
Right.
like it's along with like eating and sleeping, like fucking, sex, all that stuff is all kind of part of like that psyche.
Oh, I agree. And then like I mentioned in the previous episode, we my mom and dad, and back in the 80s they used to go to these sexy comedy movies, the Mexican sexy comedy movies, where there was a lot of
Mhm.
nudity. And I remember being in the movie theater and seeing like my first naked woman, where the breasts and the pubic hair. And in my mind I was like, I don't know why, but I really like that. It was just um, but yes, I felt, as a kid, I've always felt like a sexual, uh, you know, feeling, with certain things and shit, like,
Yeah, I mean, like, there's always going to be like that curiosity and stuff as a kid as well. Like, I remember, and this is actually, it's super funny because I've known I was bisexual pretty much for fucking forever. And the way that it kind of like solidified it, especially like thinking about it as an adult, was seeing my Theo's Playboy magazines.
oh, okay.
And I didn't fucking, know what to do with any of that, but I would look at it and be like, that's nice. I like that. Like I wouldn't know what to do, but I like it.
Okay, I'm gonna regret telling the story, but here goes. Same thing. I would like, like discover my uncle's uh pornography. There was this uncle that lived in Echo Park, back
Mhm.
back in the day, and he was like the cool uncle, and I would like hang out with him, and I would go, during summertime I would go out with him, and he worked at this really famous restaurant in Echo Park on Sunset, French restaurant, and so he'd be gone all morning, and I remember this one time I discovered this videotape, and I popped it in, and I was like, whoa, and I was like probably like in fifth or sixth grade.
Yeah.
And I was just like, whoa, like they're out. It was obviously porno, and I'm just like, whoa, this is hot. And I remember just like,
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I feel like I should be rubbing myself, And
Oh,
I,
you're like, my penis feels
yes,
funny.
and
Yeah,
I
yeah.
remember the very first time I ever accidentally masturbated. It was like the scariest fucking thing. I was like, what the fuck was that? And what is this white shit that just came out of me?
Where did this come from?
Yes, and I was like, and
Am I broken? Am I sick?
and mind you, I grew up Catholic, so obviously I felt
Yeah.
guilty right afterwards. And
Yeah.
yeah, and it was yeah, I remember the first time I was just like, whoa, I think I just broke my dick. So but yeah,
Yeah.
that was my first. So yeah, I mean, and like I said, it was a really weird experience. Luckily, no one was at home, and I cleaned up and all that shit. But
Yeah.
and then I was like, that was fun. Let's do it again.
Created a monster.
I created a monster, yes. And like I said, since I grew up Catholic, every time I did it, I felt guilty right afterwards. So and
Yeah.
and then up to the age where I realized, you know what, religion is bullshit. Fuck this. So, uh, but yeah, it's you know, and then like I said, in college I took human sexuality, and I feel it made me knowledgeable, a lot more knowledgeable about the female body as well.
Yeah.
So I feel like I said, I always forget that a lot of men don't know a lot of basic shit. So so it's kind of like, oh, okay, that's right. I went to college for this. So
Educated. An
I no,
educated
no,
man right
yes,
here.
and I still have all my old books, and anything about human sexuality's history or new, you know uh cases or whatever, or theories, like I love reading about that shit. So that's what I would love to like have with our podcast. I would love to interview other people in the sex industry, and if they have weird stories and fetishes and whatnot. So if you're out there, like, shoot us an email, dude. But yeah, so
You heard it here, folks.
that's right. We want to hear your weirdest fucking stories.
Send your weird shit.
But but I mean, yes, I'm not even kidding. I love hearing fucking stories. I mean, like I said, I worked in the adult industry. I've worked in the adult entertainment retail part of it as well, and behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
So, working in a porn shop, I met a lot of celebrities. And then I heard stories from other clerks with their interactions with celebrities. So it was a fun time back in the day.
I will say the one thing that will let me know that I have made it as I guess I would say it would be like a porn star. I will say that I will know that I made it when I get offered to make a pocket pussy modeled after me.
Well,
that's what go. I know that I hit the big time, baby.
Well, don't they actually make home kits now for that?
They do, but well, like having like the Dagger pussy, like pocket pussy, like available for sale in stores, like that would be it. Like make it legit,
Well, there you go. You heard it here first. If anybody's listening, and if you work for Doc Johnson or any of those companies, Dagger's pocket pussy.
I am available. I am ready.
And then we'll record it and put it on Patreon. So
yeah, absolutely.
Well, fuck, that was very entertaining. Thank you for penetrating our brain with your knowledge. Do you have any?
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. So we'll wrap it up. And do you want to have any social media that you want to give out, or go ahead.
So I have an Instagram. It is bruja_de_basura. And I have an OnlyFans under the same handle, Bruja de Basura, spelled the same way with the underscores between the letters. Right now, that's I also have a Blue Sky. If anybody is, doing that, I do plan on being more active on there. And because it's kind of more like Twitter, I'll be posting more of my spicier stuff on there as well. So that's also Bruja de Basura Blue Sky or whatever the hell the handle thing is, but all of my handles are the same on all the platforms.
Oh, sweet. Okay, well, yeah. And if you're listening out there, our Instagram is Penetrate Your Brain Podcast, one word, and our link tree is there with all of our TikTok, YouTube, our email, so you can reach out to us. And I'll put a link to Bruja de Basura on the stories, so you can hit her up. So yeah, I think we'll wrap it up, and till we see you guys next time.
All right, bye everybody.
Bye.